I don't know what you did with your Friday night, but I sure hope you didn't watch Peter Pan and Wendy. Peter Pan and Wendy has instantly and sharply divided critics and audiences. On one side, we have the shilliest of the shills saying, one of the year's best films, David Lowery's Peter Pan and Wendy provides a more adult, melancholy take on J.M. Barrie's seminal tale. Then there's also the obligatory white guy talking about colonialism. On the other side, there are a slew of angry half-star reviews from the audience. This one writes, because they destroy one of my favorite childhood movies, I'm crying, sad face. Overall, it's a very dark and yet empty movie. It's hard to say what the writers cared least about, because everything from story to setting to fighting gets only the most superficial treatment. I'm left believing that when the trailer got ratioed to oblivion, Disney actually listened. They had a meeting the next day and they just deleted tons and tons of this movie and left in just enough content to publish it randomly on Disney+. What they left was one of the most depressing messages both young and old audiences could ever be confronted with. Peter Pan and Wendy want you to believe that your entire inner life, for the duration of your existence, will be a bitter and endless duel between your childish innocence and your old, soured shell of a self who doesn't care about anything anymore and can't even remember if there ever was a good reason to care at all in the first place. Even Peter Pan doesn't seem to be having all that much fun. Look, if we're really going to take Peter Pan to the dark side, I want a Snyder cut of Peter Pan. And I wanted to have Rammstein and Cannibal Corpse songs in it, not pirate shanties and British lullabies. I remember the Lost Boys from Hook having a bright and vibrant home with a table full of fun and laughter. This version takes us to an empty, moldering estate that looks like it should be the home to ghosts and Never Never Land's meth addicts. Not adventurous younglings who can fly and do whatever the F they want on any given day. We don't go on any adventures with the Lost Boys and Girls. In fact, we almost never see the Lost Boys and Girls. Even in the big battle on the pirate ship at the end, there are scant moments dedicated to their heroics or ingenuity. I'd say it's just another Disney subversion of audience expectations, but for the fact that they haven't been so much as minimized as essentially removed entirely from the story. Another character who's been strangely minimized is the infamous crocodile. There's one brief appearance with the legendary tick-tocking croc, and then we never see or hear it again. I don't even know why they included this. It feels like someone in legal said they had to have the croc in for at least 10 seconds, otherwise they wouldn't call it Peter Pan. So they said, okay, 10 seconds, but not a moment more. Then, to exact revenge on legal for making them include the croc, the movie actually kills off Peter Pan. Legal, of course, sent them an email saying they liked the classic head fake of using a titular character to draw in audiences and then have the story focus on a less exciting secondary character, but they still had to have Peter Pan in this movie. So they brought Peter Pan back to life. But they weren't done with their revenge on this character. It turns out that Peter Pan is the one responsible for creating Captain Hook. Yes, you heard that right. Hook was Peter's best friend, but Peter banished him from Never Never Land because Hook missed his mom. So Peter Pan is a heartless bastard. Maybe he deserves to be dead after all. Never Never Land isn't a special place. Sure, it's beautiful, but it's not imaginative. There's a big difference. It's also strangely devoid of life, just like the toiling hacks who created this piece of corporate content. This doesn't feel like a faraway land where mermaids play amidst the waves, and fairies frolic in the air, and exuberant youth are free to go on incredible adventures. It just feels like stock footage of remote islands with rocky cliffs that I've seen in The Wheel of Time, Rings of Power, and Blood Origin. After wasting and minimizing all the other essential pieces that go together to create entertainment, it should come as no surprise that the actors were completely squandered as well. Jude Law was totally wasted as Captain Hook. This is a character with a background from Eton and Oxoniensis, and he should have really dazzled audiences with many literary or figurative flourishes of speech. The challenge there, of course, is someone would actually have to write them. Jim Gaffigan, a comedian who has brilliant takes on Hot Pockets and one of my favorite jokes of all time, doesn't tell a single joke. So what, in the end, are we left with? Ultimately, Peter Pan and Wendy is less the fairy tale of existential dread that it aspires to terrify its audience with, and more simply is just downright dreadful. It's a sad and empty story that fell into an ancient abyss which many existential philosophers managed to crawl out of with their love of life intact. This show, however, will be lost in the even more harrowing abyss of Disney Plus corporate content, but most people will go about their lives unbothered by its existence.